So can everyone see the screen? Okay, good morning everyone. So today's class is about staircase and types of the staircase. Okay, basic content will be discussing what is the staircase. Okay, so if you look on the whatever the contents we'll be discussing is like what is the just general definitions of the staircase and functional requirements. What are the functional requirements and what are the elements in the staircase and components of the staircase? General design guidelines according to IS 456 2000 and relation between rise and thread. And what is that? It comes under components. Rise and thread comes under components of the staircase. Okay. Next, classifications of staircase and based on the layout and based on the straight flight staircase and what are different types of staircase we'll be discussing. Okay. So next, if you see the first slide, what is the definitions? So if you see the definition, a staircase is a series of steps arranged to provide access between different floors of a building. So if we want to connect the first floor to the second floor, so one of the connectivity point is like you can use staircase. Okay. So if you see the next is what is the purpose of to provide the staircase is like so when you're providing staircase, you need to make sure that it is safe and it is comfortable. Vertical movement need to be done for the occupants. Okay, you need to make sure that it is of very safe condition and comfortable. So this is like there's a relation. If you provide higher the rise, then what happens? It might lead to any kind of like conflict. They might feel discomfort while they are climbing the steps. Okay. So what is the minimum price value need to be provided and what is the thread to be provided and based on the construction. So based on the type of building you're providing. So what is the width of the thread should be provided. So that and all you'll be seeing here. So next if you see the components of the staircase. So here you can see first is the steps. So here you have the steps. This is the steps now. So here you can see right components. This is the steps and landing. Here you will consider this is considered as landing and balustrade is like this is the rail condition. In rail condition they'll call it as balustrade. Here they have provided as a steel material, stainless steel material they have provided. Otherwise they also go with the parapet wall also. Okay, anything you are just obstructing from the falling. Okay, that is called balustrade. Okay, next is handrail for the support hand. For the supporting of the hand purpose, you are providing any handrails. That is here. This comes under handrail, top of the balustrade. Next, stringer. Stringer is a material like structural longitudinal structural member. Okay, this member, if they go with the concrete member, this is called stringer or weight stab also they can say. Okay, so completely what is the length of the staircase? It's called weight slab. Okay, so next if you see the functional requirements, what are the functional requirements for the providing of staircases? Like first of all, comfortable rise and thread dimensions and adequate width and headrooms need to be provided. So uniform steps throughout the flight conditions. The thread dimension should be uniform. Okay. Proper lighting and ventilation conditions need to be provided and safe and slip resistant surfaces. So whatever the surface, top surface you'll be providing, that should be anti-skid or slip resistant surface need to be provided. And structural stability and durability. Okay. So next is components of staircase is thread, riser, slide. This is like it's an you turn type staircase. If you see the flight, you will see what is the width, total width of the staircase. Okay, it's landings, weight slab, and balustrade and halliards and stringers or string. Okay, so what's the purpose of the thread? What is meant by thread? Horizontal part where the foot rests. Okay, riser is something vertical position between two threads is called riser. So here in this PPT, you can see this is riser and this is called thread member. This is thread and this is riser. Okay. So next is flight is continuous series of steps without landing. So you are providing any without landing condition, you are providing continuously steps. That is called a flight condition. And landing is like platform between two flights. So if you take anything like uh, this is landing you are providing and landing. Here you are providing this number of steps, and this is for one flight and this is for one flight. Okay. So next is base slab. This is completely called sorry, this is called your waist slab. So if you are inclined, you are providing slab member that is called waist. On this, you will be providing the steps. Okay. So next is balustrade is like support member or parapet wall. Stringer is side support for the steps. Okay. So this is all about components of staircase. Next, general design guidelines. If you see, first you need to refer the clause with section 33 for the staircase, and minimum thickness of the base slab is 75 mm. As minimum, you can provide maximum of 200, 150 to 200. You can provide maximum. Minimum reinforcement as per the clause 26.5.2.1. Cover. What is the cover? Minimum cover is to provide 20 mm for mild exposure. Okay, for extreme, if it is like comes under coastal, you need to provide plus or minus plus 5 mm. Okay, this is the general design requirements for guidelines for staircase. So next, if you see loading considerations, you will be calculating first is dead load of steps plus finishes. If you are any kind of finishes you are adding, tiles you are adding, then you will be adding that also as comes on a dead load. Next, live load you will be considering 3 kilonewton per meter square as per IS 875 Part 2 for a general residential building. If you see. Next, span of the staircase will be measuring along the slope of the slab between the support condition. It depends upon the slope condition and or number of steps you are providing and what is the width of the landing. That based on that you will be calculating what is the span of the staircase. So next, between if you say relation between rise and thread, so comfortable stair proportions are essential for safety and ease of use. Okay, it should be very comfortable because the extreme you are providing the thread, uh, rise your what it indicates the height of the step will be increased. So whenever you walk on that, or you just step on the steps, you might feel that you're taking a lot of pressure and you're applying on that. Okay. Next, see here you follow based on the empirical follows or typical dimensions. Okay. So what is the minimum condition? So what is the minimum thing you will be following it according to empirical formula is 2R plus T. So okay, that should be either 500 mm to 700 mm or R into T. That value should be between 40,000 to 45,000 meters square, where R is rise and T is thread. Okay. So typical dimensions, if you go for the typical dimensions, residential purpose, the rise should be 150 to 175 mm and thread should be 250 to 230 mm. So 250, this is thread, right? The width should be 250 to 300 mm and rise value should be 150 to 175 mm. And if you're going for the public buildings, the rise here you can see the rise is reduced to 120 to 150 mm and thread you are providing 300 to 350 mm. Okay. So next is if you see classifications of the staircase. Staircase are classified based on the shape and layout, support system, material used, and construction method. Okay, based on this, the classification of staircase is there. So first, if you see based on layout or shape. So straight flight staircase you have, and quarter turn that is of L-shaped staircase you have, or a half turn U-shaped, or three quarters turn, three, or you can say like a in coming pictures, in coming slides, I'll show this spiral staircase or helical staircase or circular staircase. In this, you can see it is of circular staircase. Okay, staircase flight, straight flight staircase. Okay, steps in one straight line. So you have only one straight line of staircase without changing in any kind of directions. You don't take any turn conditions or not. So this is simple and economical. So most commonly used in residential and small buildings. Okay. So but it requires more floor length. Okay. So the floor length should be more so that you can use only one straightly. You can go for the staircase purpose. Okay. Next is quarter turn. That is of L shape. So if I see here L shape, this here you'll be getting one flight and here you'll be getting one flight. This is direction change is at 90 degrees. Okay, as landing. So here if we consider this is the landing or like here you have the landing condition. So it takes off 90 degrees turn. Okay, compact layer. When you have a compact layer, commonly you use this type of staircase. Okay, provides rest at landing between the flight. So here you have again resting positions. Here you can take resting positions and again go. So this is all about quarter turn or L-shaped staircase. Next, half turn U-shaped staircase. Here you can see in this image, this is of directly reversed by 180 degrees. Two flights parallel to each other. So here you'll be having one flight and one more flight. Okay. So landing here you'll be one landing and here you'll be having a landing. Suitable for buildings with limited floor space. Okay, when you have the limited floor space, then you go for this half turn this type of staircase. Okay, next three-quarter turn staircase. So here, if you see the image, how it will be that here you start the staircase again. Here you will be having again you come into this. So this is your staircase type. So 270 degrees you'll be. So how many landings you'll be having this? This is one landing, two and three and four line. Used when more height needs to be covered in a confined space. So more spaces with like a confined space, you need to go with the higher heights. Then you go with this type of three-quarter ton staircase, often seen in multi-story residential buildings. Okay. So next, if you see the next type is spiral staircase. So you know it is of like a spring type. You have this steps arranged in a helical shape around this central vertical pole. So when you have the space very space efficient, ideal for restricted areas or any emergency exists, this type of staircase is used. Usually constructed by using like a steel material or with also you go with RCC, not suitable for heavy traffic. That means like if the crowd is more the people moving are that particular staircase is more. So this type of staircase is not preferable. Okay, next is helical staircase. So similar to spiral, but no central support. You don't have any middle support conditions. You don't have. Steps follow a continuous helix. Okay, elegant aesthetic, and it gives the elegant and aesthetic in appearance. Okay, so commonly used in commercial buildings, showrooms, and hotel purpose. They'll be using this kind of helical staircase. Okay, next is circular staircase built along the periphery of a circular plan. So central opening you'll be having and curved outer edge. Okay, suitable for architecture on monumental buildings and where you want any kind of lighting conditions and you want to provide any skylighting that in that particular place they provide this type of staircase conditions. So next, based on support conditions, if you see weight slab type and stringer beam type and continuous cantilever staircase. So on waist slab type, steps built over inclined slab. So you'll be having inclined slab on based on that based on that slab you'll be providing the step conditions. So this is the most common type of staircase provided in the reinforced concrete, cement concrete constructions. Okay. Next is stringer beam type. So steps supported on a beam on either side. How they'll be providing here is everything. So here you'll be having a beam and here you'll be having a steps on both sides. So if you see the base slab, the slab is completely and there you'll be dividing into half and you'll be providing the steps. Okay, next is cantilever is only one end you'll be having and another end. So you'll be having the this is the step conditions. Okay. So So this is the three types of staircase based on the support system. Next, stay if you see based on the material of constructions, RCC staircase and steel staircase, timber and brick or stone. So RCC it's like a most strong, durable and widely used. Okay, steel, if they go for industrial or temporary structures, they go this type of staircase. Timber, if it is of low cost, you want to provide, and for aesthetic interiors, then they go for the timber staircase. And if it is of brick or stone staircase, it's mostly used in traditional building or old buildings. They have gone for the brick materials. Okay. So next is like design considerations for RCC staircases. Like first you need to determine the loads and next you need to calculate the span, effective spans and bending moment shear force you need to calculate. Next is reinforcement based on the um, bending. So you will be assuming MU is equals to MU limit. Based on that, you will be finding what is the AST need to be provided. And adequate cover and anchorage. The anchorage check for the anchorage length you need to consider. And check for deflection and track controls. Okay, this is the basic design considerations for RCC staircase. So next, if you see the example reinforcement layout, so main bars, so how they will be providing, and this you need to provide main bars along the slope. Okay, distribution bars perpendicular to the main reinforcement, extra bars at landing for negative moments. Okay, next, if you see the summary of this type, staircases are essential for vertical circulation elements in buildings. So classification based on the shapes and support and materials we have covered, and what are the basic design requirements I have covered, and proper proportions of like ensures comfort, safety, and also look of the staircase. So here so if you go for the references, so you need to refer with IS 456 2000 for the plain and reinforced concrete code of practice. Okay. Next, it's like for the imposed loads on the buildings, like what are the loads acting on the staircase. For that, you can refer IS 875 Part 2 and SP 34 for the handbook on reinforcement and detailing of the staircase. And textbooks like on RCC designs, like you can go with Verghese or Punmaya. Okay, with this textbooks you get the design of the staircase.